Good afternoon, saints. This is Sharon from the House of Prayer. Um, the Lord wants me to put up another video, and it is so long that I think it's going to be incorporated into two videos. But this is what He wants you to know. There is a plan put into place to bring down the global cabal enterprise to completely control every country. Now we're talking New World Order here. Control every country, including America. In the 1960s, when they took out President 35, who we have talked about a great deal, who I've said there is more coming on that, but it's not going to be in this video. But when they tried to take him out, there were 200 military generals that got together, and they knew that they had to make a plan that would be smarter than what the cabal had. They had to infiltrate this power or structure that has been pulling all the strings on the U.S. and other countries around the world. In 1871, Congress passed what we called earlier the Act of 1871, which we've already discussed. It is designed to govern the nation, the land of the U.S., moving forward over the next number of years to 1910 to 1912. We had small enough bonds to be able to run the government, would have enough money for it. But the Rothschild bankers bought up those bonds. When it became time to pay the bonds, they couldn't because the money wasn't there. So they talked the criminal president and Congress into creating the Federal Reserve Bank, where they would write a number on a piece of paper, call it money, but it wasn't worth anything, hand it off to our government, and the people had to pay the interest. The United States Corporation then, in 1934, there's a quick claim passed by Congress, a quick claim the United States Corporation created the Act of 1934. And this was called the Security and Exchange Commission, or the SEC. This agency primarily responsible for endorsement of the U.S. Federal Securities Act, signed by FDR along with the traders in Congress. Then quit-claimed it to the International Monetary Fund. This country has been run by a foreign power for a very long time. Fast forward to 1999. The second and final bankruptcy happened. This was a window and opening to get control of the government. Russell J. Gould and Donald Windmiller got control of the Title IV flag of the United States, and an 18-day period after the bankruptcy seized the Title IV flag and saved us from going back to under the Royal British Crown. Now they say that, but I kind of think it's farther up the line. So right about this time, this plan had been underway for decades. But for the last 20 years, the Patriots, the alliance powers, which consists of 22 alliance nations around the world, they have been orchestrating the infiltration of the global power structure that has been taking over in every country by this cabal. In 2015, we were at a tipping point. At that time, Admiral Mike Rogers, a Navy admiral, a true hero, was named the commander of the NSA. When they got control of the NSA, they knew the NSA had a log recording every email, phone call, every text message, all forms of communication. Each one of your lives and every life. Let me turn this back on. Okay. This was a weapon, but it turned out it was used for an offensive weapon instead. It was meant to enslave humanity. The alliance powers, the patriots, infiltrated this. They took control of the NSA. Now, when number 45 was running, it was this Admiral Rogers is the one that went to him and said, "You are being recorded." And that's why he left New York and went to New Jersey. Now it has put every single bad guy, all the criminals in government in Washington, D.C., big tech, multinational corporations, the military complex, the monarchs around the world, the Vatican, and it goes through the list. This is a massive, corrupt power structure. So in 2015, they knew it was a tipping point. The U.S. military was prepared to launch a coup on the government. It didn't matter who was in power. The government, Washington, D.C., had become so corrupt that it was no longer functional for the people because they don't work for America. They are not elected and seated in the position under our Constitution. They are seated under corrupt or the corporate U.S. and they serve the corporation. So every time that you say, "You work for me," no, they don't. Military intelligence intercepted a 16-year plan by the cabal to take down the United States. 8 years of it was run by Renegade that we've talked about, and then the other 8 years of Evergreen to finish us off. Renegade took us to the brink. We were basically over the edge, and Evergreen was to mop up that operation. And then we would be a one world order. Now, there's a lot more involved in this than what I'm going to tell you now, but we'll get to that another day. When Evergreen would have taken over, the NSA unrigged the election. It was already set up for her to win. Remember the uranium one debacle that they had? It was sold to Russia. Upon her getting elected, they were going to launch a nuclear weapon on the United States soil from 3 different countries, but not Russia. They were going to then trace it to Russia, blame them, and then launch a thermonuclear retaliatory strike on Moscow and start a war. Military stopped it from happening. They approached number 45 because they knew he couldn't be bought. But they knew he had his own money. They knew he was a patriot. And they were to have power, needed power in the executive branch to take down a final step and launch or take down the cabal and launch a massive attack on the deep state power structure and bring the whole thing down once and for all to save the country, save the world. 45 came into power. But what's been happening to him since then? So many people hated him. They hated his tweets, called him Orange Man. It was just terrible. Said he was a demon. His father was Satan. That's not true. We have seen this relentless attack from all over the global cabal. They have to turn everything that they had to throw at him to number 45 to get him out of power because they know what's coming. Nothing is going to stop what is coming. They are also throwing everything to take him down. This isn't a win or lose situation for them. It is to win or die. They are limited or will be eliminated from the earth. This is their last ditch effort. So the November 3rd event was to regain the power at all costs, to stop 45 and the military from bringing them down once and for all. They, the cabal, built the matrix that we have been living in. Communism, capitalism, socialism, Marxism, Nazism, it was all built from the cabal. The Rothschild global empire paid for it. Everything they do to support a war. Go down the list of what has happened to 45, and you'll understand. Everything has been a scripted movie with the intention of waking people up so they can finally see the truth of what is going on. October 2018, this military group dropped the number 17 and then called it 4chan boards. They were obscure, underground messaging platform. Once the intel drops hit, people noticed them. I told you that 45 has been talking to us in code from the color red of his tie that he wears most of the time to Flotus's clothing. It's all a signal about things. And we've talked about that a little. I think that was yesterday. This created an underground movement trying to figure out what it meant. This became the greatest military operation in the world history. One purpose, to ask the question that people had on their minds, point them in a direction to go to and to do their own research. Many new platforms appeared where patriots took over the news, and that's where you would go to get the real news, to stop listening to CNN, which is a communist station. It could be executive orders, publications, photos. Less than 10 people inside the administration, only 7 of them being military and 3 are non-military. I bet you can guess one of them. The plan that started to lay out a roadmap to the future and how we were going to wake people up who we call sheep. The world could see what was really happening before it's too late. Now, there are tens of millions worldwide following this operation known as the letter 17. The media, the shields, or I don't know what you call them, people who have not done their homework attack it. This is what number 45 represents. It always has been 45, and the military is trying to save our lives because we have been too lazy, too comfortable, ignorant to do it ourselves. Now, this country has gone to the very edge, and right now, we, with the help of the awakened people and the military, are going to save it, and especially God. This is the godly plan. We watch what happens with General Flynn. Let's discuss Jeff Sessions for a second. He was the Attorney General. Number 45 starts attacking him because he recused himself from the Russia investigation. What did that do? It left a deep state puppet, Rod Rosenstein, to step up and take over the investigation. Robert Mueller was part of it the whole time that this has been going on. There are people that are so corrupt. This is staged by the good guys, though. Sessions is a good guy. Now the enemy is trying to protect Sessions so he wouldn't do anything to show who they were. So they were trying to protect him, not knowing what he was really doing. Then the grand juries were secretly becoming into play. Sessions assigned John Durham to create juries against the criminals. Keep your eyes on Sessions and what his role is in this movie. And I'm about running out of time, so I'm going to tape number 2.